Good afternoon. I'm Granny, and this is Granny and Grumpy's greenhouse. Today we're going to be inside of Granny's kitchen, and we are going to make two things. I got this from watching a YouTube channel called Acre Homestead, and the lady on that homestead is called Rebecca. And she makes a lot of really good dishes. Some dishes that I would not put on this channel simply because we're preferring to have vegetarian dishes. But she makes lots of good vegetarian dishes. So today we are going to make brown sugar, homemade. And then we're going to also make something called oatmeal bake. And this sounds absolutely delicious. Bob can't wait to taste it, or Grumpy. And so anyhow, we're going to make first the brown sugar because we have to have that in the oatmeal bake. So first you put in, because I'm only going to make a small amount to begin with, we're going to have 4 cups of organic cane sugar. Now cane sugar isn't white. Whenever you get it organically like that, it has kind of a blonde color to it. And then next we're going to open up a bottle of molasses. Now this is not sorghum molasses. I couldn't get sorghum molasses here where I live. The people are not quite as health conscious. There are more farmers and stuff that are not, they're old timers and they're not as health conscious, so they wouldn't get sorghum. But anyway, so we've got what's called grandma's molasses here, and so we're going to pour in a little bit more than half the jar. This will make this this sugar a very deep dark brown. So let's see how it works first. And oh, it smells delicious. Smells a lot like molasses. It should. It's got plenty of it in it. Okay, now let's see. Oh, it's getting really yummy looking. Wow, it's got a lot of... When I was watching her, I was noticing that it had, the molasses would stick to the side of the bowl a lot. And it does. Wow. Okay. All right, let's try again. Okay, I think we might have to push this and move this a little bit more. There. Let's see how it does that way. All right, now let's see. This is really, really molassesy. Wow. I'm going to have to get a liquor that's a little bit harder to push. That one's a little too soft. Let's see. Well, I had another. There's one. This one seems to be a little bit on the soft side. It doesn't want to push the molasses out of the way. So because I'm so ancient, I can remember a time when grandmas and grandpas would have biscuits and molasses on them. My grandmother made lots and lots of rolls and biscuits and all that kind of stuff. Well, you really have to push hard on this because you don't know, they take so much, well, that's where you get molasses from, is from sugar when they're refining the sugar. They ought to just leave it all together, but they don't. Okay, let's see here. Push this down and push it back over here. Let's see what it looks like this time. Well, it's looking better. Just takes a little time to get it all mixed together. Wow. This really smells a lot like what it is. Okay. Now. Okay. I think we're finished with this part. So, be right back with you. I'm going to pour this into a container and then I'll come back. Okay. Now I'm going to make this oatmeal bake. It really looked good whenever Rebecca was making it, so I'm trusting her that it is good. So we're going to put 10 eggs in a glass pan like this. I get my eggs from my sister-in-law, as I've said before, and she has a lot of chickens, and these chickens are allowed to free range around, just pick up the bugs and eat them, and then they feed them organic feed. And the eggs taste, oh, so good. They're really, really deep yellow, orange colored looking. Okay, that's all the eggs we need. Now next, and I will put the recipe in the description underneath, so you'll be able to get all the ingredients, so I don't have to go so slow. Okay, so we're going to have 2 cups of milk. First, we're going to take this and we're going to mash up these eggs, so that, and then after we mash the yellows up, we're going to mix it up real good. I got my new Excalibur dehydrator today, and I'm so excited because I've wanted one of these for a very, very long time, but just didn't want to spend the money. I never want to spend money, but then I do spend money, so the thing I spend most of my money on is food. So, Okay, now let's get this here so we can mix it a little bit better as we add the ingredients. So next we're going to put in 2 cups of milk. Now I'm using almond milk because I just don't choose to use the other milk a lot. So I use a little bit of butter and use some cheese here and there, but try not to use too much milk. Then we're going to have 2 cups of applesauce. This is an apple crazy recipe. So, okay. Alright. Then next we're going to get 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Now I've got organic cinnamon here. I don't know that it makes a lot of difference. Most of the organic spices and herbs that I buy are usually a lot stronger. Not sure why. Okay, 1. Whoops. That's a little much. Okay. All right. Well, and then it says 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar. Now, why did I make so much? Well, because I'm going to have other recipes eventually, and I don't want that we're going to have it in it, and I didn't want to have to make it up each time. A lot of trouble. Okay. All right, that's 1/4 of a cup. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. Now, your salt should be non-iodized. So I prefer pink salt. It has a lot of minerals in it, so I use that for everything usually anyway. So it's 1 teaspoon of salt. Now, let's mix that up. Because next we're going to put some oats in here. And then after we get the oats mixed in, we're going to put in apple cubes. So, this is one very apple-licious breakfast food. My husband likes apple pie, and I didn't think I liked apple pie, but this week at a potluck at church, I took an apple pie especially for him, and I had a piece. Instead of having raspberry, I had a piece of apple pie, and I actually liked it. But I used to have to eat a lot of it as a kid, and I didn't like it as a kid, so I reckon your taste changes when you grow up. Okay. Now, we're going to put in, by the way, we preheated our oven to 350 degrees already, so it's sitting over there ready to go. So we're going to put in 4 cups of oats. Now, my oats are organic, but you can use whatever you have. So, we're also going to go ahead and put in those 2 cups worth of chopped up. I'm going to put a little bit more than that because I can't seem to get enough in my cup. So I'll have 3 of these because that should equate about 2 cups worth. Now, you can put, if you want to sit down and cut up a whole bunch of apples, you can put them in plastic bags and put them in the freezer straight from doing it, and they won't turn color or anything, and then just use them when you need them. And if you like this, if you try it and you like it, then you have something to use those apples in every time you want to use them. So. I have to say, this smells good before it's even started to cook, so. I can imagine that when this gets started baking, that instead of it making it to breakfast, Grumpy's probably going to come in here and say, "What is that I smell? What are you cooking?" Even though I have told him what I'm doing, so, but he won't think about it because his mind's on other things. So he'll say, "That smells good." You're not married 44 years to the same man and not know something about him, right? I tell you what, this really smells delicious. Okay. So it says the next thing that it wants you to do, we're going to put a topping on this. And it says cut up in pieces, 1/4 of a cup. And 1/4 of a cup is 4 tablespoons. So that's half of a stick of margarine. Now, what it says to do is it wants you to take this butter, half a stick of margarine. It's a half a stick of butter. I hadn't used margarine in 30 years. Anyway, this, they want you to cut it up. So, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing from over there, but they want you to cut it up. So we're going to push this to the side a little bit. So you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to cut it long ways. And then make sure you leave your butter in the refrigerator until you're ready to do this, because it gets, you know, melty. Okay, we're going to cut it in little pieces like this. And they're going to be put all over the top of the oatmeal bake, before it goes in the oven. Wow, this sugar really smells like molasses. I mean, like pure molasses. Smells really good. Okay, so next what they want you to do, they want you to put the butter, little pats of butter, all around on the top. So let's say we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14 little pats that we're going to put around. Okay, getting closer to getting this done. Okay, I should have just made it into 12, but we'll put those 2 little pieces there. All right, now, after we do that part, then we're going to take another 1/4 of a cup of sugar. And we're just going to sprinkle it all over the top. That's what it's supposed to be done to it. So in the whole thing, you're only using 1/2 cup of sugar. So it's not that much sugar, thank goodness. Because I don't know if I'm going to taste this or not, because, you know, I have arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and I'm not supposed to have sugar. It sets off like a raging fire. So maybe just smelling it will be good enough. I'll live vicariously through Bob. I'll let him tell me how good it is. And if he likes it, I used to accuse him when we first got married of being Mikey. Now, I don't know if you know, let me wash my hands real quick and I'll tell you about Mikey. Okay, so when we first got married, anytime there was anything, almost, now he does not like mushy foods. So anytime I would have something, you know, that I was trying or whatever, he always wanted it. And so then we had kids. And the kids would turn something down, which they ate most everything I fed them, but they might turn something down and say, "Ew, I don't think that's good." And he'd say, "I'll eat it." Well, there used to be, when I was a kid growing up, there used to be a Life cereal character called Mikey in the advertisement. And it was these little brothers, you know, they were all sitting around, and some of them wouldn't like something and they'd say, "Ew, I don't like this." They say, "Mikey will eat it." And so Bob's name's Robert Michael. And so anyway, we got to where when my kids were little, there was still Mikey, was still on the show. Of course, it was a different Mikey, but, and so we got to saying, "Daddy will eat it." He's our little gopher to eat everything that nobody wanted. And so Mikey will eat it. So that's the story about eating whatever nobody else wanted. So we're going to put this, as you can see what it looks like, I think pretty well from the screen. We're going to put this in the oven, and it says to bake it for 35 to 40 minutes or until golden on the top and firm to the touch. And it says, be careful not to overcook it. So we're going to come in here in 45 minutes and make sure that this is not overcooked. We might start at 35 minutes just to make sure, because this is a lot of ingredients to waste if it gets ruined. And I have burnt some things in my time, so I don't know of a cook who hasn't burnt some things. So, all right. So I'm sorry you're going to have to hear this, but you know, it's my little accurate timer, so. Okay. There we go. So anyhow, in 45 minutes, we'll come back and let you see what it looks like. And maybe we'll get Grumpy to come in here and taste it for us and tell us how good it is. Anyway, be back in a little bit. Okay, now turn this off. So, we let the oatmeal bake for 45 minutes, and touched it a little bit while it was piping hot to make sure it had firmed up, and it had. And so I turned it off, and I've been letting it cool down some because it was so hot that it was bubbling, just bubbling viciously all over it. And so anyhow, this is what it looks like. It looks very good. Just also wanted to show you what the sugar looked like. Heavy it is. It feels like a brick. But it smells really, really good, and it'll last a little while. So I won't have to make any more anytime real soon. Of course, that depends, you know. There's always that possibility that I might find some more recipes that I like that call for sugar, and sometimes I don't want to put honey and stuff, certain things, and you know, we'll see what happens. So Grumpy's here with me. I'm gonna let him come on around here, and he is going to give the acid test. Now, he's not been long since home, you know, he's been working all day, so He's coming in his work clothes, so.
Well, I'm a little dirty today, so try to forgive me
That's all right.
for that.
He's dirty anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow, okay. So, not going to give him a whole lot because he just ate a fairly large salad. And, oh, yeah, it's perfect. It's not.
That's a nice texture.
Yeah. So, let's see. We hope he likes it.
It looks kind of like a custard or something. Let's see.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's nice.
It's something you can eat for breakfast then?
Yeah, I could eat that.
We have 3 chihuahuas, adult chihuahuas.
It has a custard texture to it.
Yeah. And so that's what you're hearing with the little twinkling sound. Bitsy, our oldest chihuahua, she thinks he's going to give her some of this. So.
All right, I'll let her try a little piece. This is the real test.
Sometimes she won't eat some things.
Oh, she lapped that up.
Oh, man. Yeah, she scarfed that down in a heartbeat. So,
yeah, I like it. It's got it doesn't taste so much like oatmeal as it does
a dessert.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a custard.
So it's a dessert you can have for breakfast.
That's pretty nice. I mean, it's not overly sweetened.
Right.
But it has a nice, solid texture to it.
So the whole thing, even my applesauce that I had put into it, was not sugared. It was sugar-free applesauce. And so here's the thing, is the whole entire 9x13 glass container had only a half a cup of this brown sugar mix. So he's getting...
It's kind of like a pudding.
Now he's getting a lot of minerals in here because it had... we put the molasses back into the sugar. Did you put
nuts in it too?
No, I did not put nuts in it. Is that something might taste good with nuts in it?
I wouldn't mind trying nuts in it, but...
Okay.
It's very nice. I like it.
Well, good. Maybe I'll take a little bit over to the next door neighbor and see if she likes it. So, anyway, so thankfully it passed the acid test, the dog and Grumpy. So, anyhow, may take a little bit to my sister-in-law and brother-in-law for them to taste as well, because I have to go pick up eggs this week. So, when I go to get eggs, I'll take a little bit and let them taste it and see what they think of it. I have another sister-in-law that lives a little bit further away than the other one, and maybe I might take her some as well. So, and her husband, my brother-in-law. So, anyhow, well, folks, I'm so glad you came and spent some time with me in Granny's kitchen, and we will be making something else soon. In fact, hopefully we'll be stuffing some peppers soon. So anyway, have a blessed evening, a wonderful night's sleep, and we'll see you next time. Bye.